Good morning. Good morning. Logan, what's happening?
Good seeing you guys.
Don Yoakum's in the house. Andrea, man, we got a powerhouse this morning. Susan.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to turn it over to Randy Bird. Take it to the top, Randy.
Take it to the promised land. Are we good to go? We have our guest in there, and I can't see anybody but your pretty face, Tom, so it's all good. Well, everybody, I'm super excited to bring our guest today. This guy is, he was a Tom Ferry coach for years with me, and I got to really admire him through hearing him speak and teach in Tom Ferry circles. Tom, do you have a different view, or I wonder if it's just me, because all I see is you. I can't see him.
Okay. Eric, do you want to try a different view? Anyway, okay, yeah, so there you go. I'll try and switch that, but let's go. We're all here. Now you're on mute.
Can't hear you, Bird.
Okay, he's switching it out.
I wonder if he's ever done this before.
I know, that's right.
Whatever. I haven't done it on my phone. I can tell you that much for sure. You guys, you got me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
go.
So, the thing about Kip is just an inspirational guy. And the thing that I remember the most with Kip was we were in a Tom Ferry training, and he started talking, and immediately very well-spoken, charismatic. He's got a huge personality. He is a funny looking guy. He's not as good looking as I am, but immediately we were attracted. And Kip, wave at everybody, say hi, how you doing? I can't see you, which sucks.
Okay. I do look a little different than most people.
I got you now. But you know what, Kip, I had Kip on my podcast a couple of years ago, and we literally for 45 minutes, we laughed and cried. And it was one of my most powerful podcasts ever, because this guy's story is so freaking amazing. He's such an amazing human being, and he's inspiring, not because he was born with some challenges with his arms. I always give him a bad time. I'm like, dude, let's lock arms and do this. And he's like, Bird, every time. And so the good thing about Kip is we're good enough friends so I can make jokes with him and stuff. And he,
No, you can't, dude. You hurt my feelings. You hurt me with your words, Randy.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm going to hurt you on the golf course is what's going to happen. So what I'd like to do, and I apologize in advance, Kip, because I have no power. I have no internet here in Puerto Rico. It's not an uncommon thing, but I had your nice bio on my computer and all these things to really edify you. So I'm asking you, please brag on yourself for a little bit. Take people through your legal journey, through your background in helping people with disabilities, and through your coaching now. And please take people through a little walk in your life. And then I want to ask you a few questions and talk about a few stories that I remember very well with you.
Sure. First of all, thanks for the opportunity, Randy. I appreciate it. It's nice to see y'all.
Hey, thanks, Kip.
I just spent yesterday in South Carolina, so I've got y'all on my mind. I had breakfast at Waffle House this morning. I am
Y'all ended up
comprehensively immersed in the whole Southern vibe now. I have to take a shower. I think I don't know what I'm gonna do to get rid of it, but I practiced law for 15 years, and then when I turned 40, I just realized that if I did that another day, I was going to be miserable the rest of my life. So I was living in Tampa at the time, and I sold my law firm and bought a real estate franchise in Salt Lake City, Utah, and moved the family out there and spent 10 years in Utah flipping houses and got into real estate, became an agent and did a few hundred short sales and sold a mess of homes. And then I picked Utah. We were sick of shoveling snow. So the wife picked Charlotte. We landed here, and I hooked up with Tom Ferry and met Randy and coached for Tom full-time for 6 years. And now I'm on my own. I'm doing a bunch of consulting, and I joined EXP, and I'm looking to get
Is that
back.
official? Because I've been looking in my back office. You haven't showed up yet. So are you still like a secret agent?
I signed up, and as soon as I signed up, Randy, I got a piece of work helping a company with some HR issues, and I haven't come up for air since.
No worries, brother.
But
you're like
that, it actually ended.
I know you probably went. you probably went active, saw Randy Bird, and put in the transfer of sponsor. I'm sure that's what happened.
No, I don't want to, I don't have the heart to tell you, I didn't use you as my sponsor in the first place, Randy.
I'm all right with that, brother. Hey, I'm sorry we have to cut this interview short, but good talking to you, Kip.
Pardon me? Oh, yeah.
I said we're gonna have to cut this short now, so you're out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, kind of like you didn't want to play golf back when you sucked. Back when you
True.
were complaining about your shoulder or whatever the heck you said was hurt.
Yeah, whatever story I needed.
Randy shows up talking about his golf game, and I say, "Well, let's go." And he goes, "Oh, my arm is hurt." I'm like, really, man?
That's your story. All right, I'm sorry to disrupt you. Come on with your story.
Oh, that's pretty much it. I just been doing consulting and some coaching since I left Tom Ferry, and I joined EXP because I want to get back into real estate coaching, sell a few houses. So here I am.
What was your legal background? What was your specialty? And take us down that journey a little bit.
I did labor and employment and civil rights, pretty much anything with a fight, a lot of federal court class action litigation. And I did a bunch of cases on behalf of persons with disabilities. I sued telephone companies for charging the hearing impaired exorbitant rates for the transfer of the same amount of data. I sued 5 of the biggest 10 banks on the planet because they were charging the visually impaired $75 for 35 raised line checks. I sued a couple major hospital companies for having completely inaccessible hospitals, and I'm just wrapping up the last one of those right now. That'll probably be another year of that. That's a 20-year case involving, it's been thousands of facilities.
Wow, that's amazing. That was really compelling to me when you told me that story, and because that's a whole nother level. I mean, you could say you're an attorney and you had a law practice, but that's a whole nother level. I mean, that's a level that a lot of people don't really can't comprehend. But so what led you to the coaching space specifically? You were a real estate agent. What led you to coaching?
I met Bill Pipes.
I love Bill Pipes.
Bill Pipes was my coach in Salt Lake City. I think I hired him, I want to say in 2011. So I will. Anyway, I met Bill Pipes, and by about our third coaching call or coaching session, we were doing them live. I was showing up at his office. And Billy's, Billy's just like one of my favorite human beings in the world. I mean, I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's just, but by about our third call, I said, it became quite apparent to me that, thank God I don't need to compete against this guy because I'd never win a listing. And so I asked him, why aren't you selling houses? And he said, that selling houses is great, but what I really want to focus on is helping people build better lives. And, I'll never forget that answer. And I was hooked on the spot. And it took me 5 more years to get into coaching, but I was hooked. So that's how I got into it.
That's a great path. And I had a similar path, not with Bill. I met Bill at Tom Ferry and immediately got on his list. It took me like a year and a half to finally get into the coaching program with Bill as a coach. He was just, full, and he's the guy. But really, we share a lot of affinity for Bill for sure. So what's your perfect coaching client? What's that look like for you? Like, what's that avatar look like for you when you pick up a coaching client? Is it somebody that is coachable? Is it somebody that's got a specific need? Is it somebody that, what inspires you to change that life and that coaching element?
My favorite coaching client is a relative newbie who's absolutely 100% committed to building a rock star business. We've had very few of them. Everybody talks a big game, but very, very few are as committed as you need to be. And I'll give you an example. I had these folks, a married couple from India who immigrated here a decade ago. They were in IT. They got their real estate licenses because their dream was to get out of IT. They were living in New York City and couldn't stand it. And, on our first call, I just flat out said, if you do what Tom says, if you do what I say, you can have whatever the heck you want. And these people, heavy accents, working the phone in New York City with heavy accents, they were running into all kinds of roadblocks, but we took them from 5 houses a year to 75 houses a year in 3 years. And just, hey, do this. And it's done. 100% committed, whatever you tell them to do. So I'll tell you this, now that I'm out of Tom Ferry, I can get away with it. They were a core client, which means I spoke to them every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I told them, I will give you a free call on your off weeks if you get your homework done. I've given that deal to many clients. Okay.
No kidding.
Nobody's ever consistently taken advantage of it. These guys did their homework every single week and got that free call.
Wow.
And,
that's pretty legit.
They're still friends to this day. Every year they send me a birthday cake. They're just wonderful people. And
I love it. I love it.
That's my favorite kind of client. People willing to do anything.
Yeah, I love that, Kip. And I was very emotionally taken by your interview I did with you some years ago. Your story of your physical things that you went through in life, and I think there's value in letting people know and how you work through all this stuff to get to a place to where you're just emotionally charged and loving life. And we had some deep conversations about that. And I know we have a short call, but would you mind sharing a little bit about the medical journey that you went through as a youngster, and then what that looks like? And then I believe the miracle of who you are today, honestly. I'm blessed that we've become good friends, but your heart and your drive and it's been an uphill battle for you. It's not been easy even to this day, I would say.
Well, I was born without fingers, elbows, or thumbs, and the fingers that I'm wearing today were essentially aftermarket specials that were sewn on. I had a bone structure inside of a fused flipper that they spread apart, and then they cut one of the fingers off, moved it up to give me an opposable thumb on each side. Mm-hmm. And I lost half of this one to infection, but it was about 20 operations, and I don't remember that, thank God. But I did come out of that with a God honest, hard-earned fear of needles.
Is that right?
Yo, man, you get me near a needle and I go to the dentist, I'm crying because
oh, wow.
And I know what it's from because I've had, thousands and thousands and thousands of stitches in my hands, and that's not fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, I finally had fingers, which is good news. They didn't institutionalize me, which was standard operating procedure back when I was born.
Wow.
But it took me till I was about 15 before I was completely physically independent. It took me 6 years to learn how to button my shirt. I couldn't use a manual can opener until I think I was about 16. I didn't have the hand strength.
Wow.
But today it's funny because people will ask me, well, why did you get a damn electric can opener? And I don't have to. All right. And when I button my shirt, I work so hard to be able to do that without one of the tools that you can get to help you button your shirt. It's funny. It's there are days that I just find myself smiling in the mirror because I can button my damn shirt.
I love that.
And what I learned on that journey was very simply one of the many things you learn on that journey, because when you're differently shaped, you see the world differently. You have experiences that most people don't have, which is a tremendous, tremendous blessing. Because if your goal in this life is to experience as much of it as you can, this is a great vehicle, because you just encounter things that are inexplicable. Anyway, one of the wonderful lessons that I learned was, if you wake up in the morning and you can't even function, and you get to work on figuring out how to do all of the activities that everybody else takes for granted, buttoning your shirt, feeding yourself, using the bathroom properly, brushing your teeth, driving a car, all of these things, none of that's designed for people who look like this. So it was a journey to get to be able to design that. But what I learned was very simply this: every single day I got up, I could do something that I couldn't do the day before. Every single day I got up stronger, bigger, better, faster, able to do something that I look back and, hey, look, Mom, I can do it now. And if there's a better recipe for building an optimist, I don't know what it is, because every day got better. Every single day got better. And then as I matured, I realized that it doesn't matter what you think about it. I don't give a damn what anybody else says about it. It gave me so much confidence to understand from such an early age that if I put my mind to something, I can have it. And I'm an inveterate optimist. I can't help it, man, because I didn't have fingers, right? And now, I go out and blow 80s on the golf course, and I just get a kick out of that.
Yeah, say that one more time. You blow up 80s on the golf course. That's to anybody that golfs, that is ridiculously good. And my brother ain't got full arms and he's waxing me on the golf course. That's why I won't play him. It's just a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I don't like to lose. I don't care how short, tall you are. It's okay. Kip, you told me a story. The one that's really resonated with me is the elevator story. You remember that story you shared with me?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So is there a way for you to share that story and just kind of some broad context to, I don't remember what translated in our conversations to get to the elevator story. I just remember it changed me. It changed me the day I heard it. And it gave me a different perspective on things. And then your optimism, it just shines like a sunlight, like a flashlight on you. And it's not always that way. I get it. We've talked about dark things as well, right?
Yeah.
But some of these stories I think will impact people, because here you are with this massive optimism, and there's people with absolutely ready, able bodies, completely, physically fit in every way, but yet they can't figure it out. They can't get through the day. They can't see the light in the day. And because we're at the turn of the year, 2023 is an opportunity to check 2022 off the list and reset the boundaries for yourself, your mind, your spirit, your soul, your belief, your faith. I think that's why I wanted and tracked with you, by the way, to come on this call this week, as we're halfway through January. Give us some things that you find to be inspirational otherwise. And if you feel like it, I'd love a refresher on the elevator story, because I remember it being very, touching to me.
Okay. Yeah. And again, thanks for the opportunity, Randy. I love telling that story because it helps people.
Yeah.
So anyway, Western culture just puts an appalling strain on people who look different. And I couldn't get jobs. I was asked to leave public places. I was sent home on my first day of school because I don't look like other kids. It just is a nonstop parade of indignities. And that can tear you apart if you're not prepared for it. And I wasn't prepared for it. I mean, when I was 15 years old, I had a successful ski racing career. I was a 4-time national disabled ski champion, a 2-time silver medalist at the Paralympics and World Disabled Ski Championships. And I'm 100% physically capable, and I'm beating my brothers at, ping pong, pool, golf, whatever you want to do, let's go. And I believed in my heart that would be enough. And it's not. The physical strain, the physical challenge of my shape was the easy part. The hard part was the mental game. And by the time I was 22 or so, I wanted to blow my brains out, but that's one thing I can't do. Thank God I can't hold a gun. And I'm thinking, I was a bicycle messenger, and I was thinking, how easy would it be just to flick my handlebars and eat a bus and just end it? Because I just couldn't believe the what seemed to be unfair between working so hard to become physically capable and being completely rejected anyway. And I was living alone, as lonely as I was, like a man on the moon. Who do you turn to talk to when you can't find anybody who looks like you? And if anybody's hearing this, what this sounds like is just a gigantic pity party. And that's where I was. And then I had a delivery as a bike messenger, and I got on an elevator, and I turned my back to the back of the car to face the door, and this little hand came through the doors just as they were closing, and a woman got on, and she turned sideways, so she was standing perpendicular to me. And mammals can tell when people are staring at them, and I can. I've had it my whole life. And she was staring at me, so I was digging through my delivery bag looking for my package or whatever, and I looked up at her because I expected her to break eye contact, but she didn't. And she just smiled at me, and she just saved my life. She said 7 words that everything changed. She said, "I bet you lead an interesting life." And I didn't even answer. I just kind of shrugged and went back to my bag. And I'm thinking, well, what the hell does that mean? Right. And the elevator door opened and she got off on her floor and I continued up to make my delivery. And by the time I got back down, 90 seconds later, it hit me what that meant. I bet you lead an interesting life. And I just lost it. I cried uncontrollably for the next 20 minutes because I realized what it meant. And what it meant, what it means is this: reality is a construct. All circumstances, all events are completely neutral. And no event has inherent meaning. The only meaning it has is the meaning that we give it. And up to that point in my life, I gave the episodes I had related to my arms, not getting jobs, not getting dates, all that crap, the staring, the laughing, the mocking, all that stuff, surviving high school looking like this was just brutal. And I defined all that as painful. And what I constructed was my own personal hell. And it was my fault. I had 100% responsibility for how I interpreted those events. But when I got on that elevator, I defined all that as painful. And then she says, I bet you lead an interesting life. And the word interesting has no emotional context. It's a neutral word. And what I did in that elevator in the next, instant millisecond was redefined all the painful things in my life as interesting. And when I got off the elevator, I still cry about it today. The pain left and it never came back. Wow. And I realized, I study it. I've studied it extensively ever since. And the funny thing is, I thought I'd gone crazy because I was a suicidal, drinking myself, any drug I'll do, skiing my ass off, riding my bike 30 miles a day. I was just an animal. I wasn't even human because I was in so much pain. And I got off that elevator and it's gone. And I can smell again. I can see color again. I can hear again. And all my dreams came back. And I'm riding my bike through the traffic, making my deliveries with this grin on my face. And I thought that I'd gone crazy. And Randy, I'm not lying about this. I thought that I was playing in a sandbox, that it was a reactive defensive distortion of reality, that I'd gone too far, that I'd snapped, because there was no possible way that I could just change the definition of a word and everything would be okay. And I didn't tell my wife about this till we were married for 10 years. I never told anybody about the woman in the elevator because I didn't believe it was safe. I kept it. I used it every day. I rely on it. But finally, I went to Tony Robbins and he said it from stage. And that was the first time I knew that, holy crap, I'm not crazy, right?
There's meaning attached to this.
Yeah, I've studied it ever since. And finally, the science caught up. We've long known that emotion can describe, language can describe emotion. I love you, I'm joyful, I'm jealous, I'm angry. We know that language can describe how you feel. But finally, about 4 years ago, they figured out that your language can control emotion. So, for example, when something bad happens and you say, I'm destroyed, or I'm irate, or I'm furious, you're really choosing how you feel. Your language acts as a scaffold upon which you choose a limited selection of emotions. So when I called everything painful, because that's what society taught me to do, I really just built myself in my own living hell. And then when I changed that definition to interesting, I just became intensely curious about everything and nothing could hurt me anymore. I've been studying it and living it and teaching it and loving it ever since.
I love you, brother. You brought emotions out of me again. Do it every freaking time.
Oh, I love doing that, Randy. I love making you cry.
I hate you for it, man. I'm an emotional guy. Anyway, I get on the phone with you and I'm just like, like we're old girlfriends. But I love your story. I saw a lot of text that's very powerful. I think that's what is in my heart. It was powerful for people to hear. And then the way that you describe it, you're very articulate, obviously very knowledgeable and educated. But the way you articulate it speaks to me, and I think it speaks to other people. And I remember that podcast was a big deal for me in my life. And I also remember then I started hearing words like interesting was for you, and it was purpose for me. When I hear the word purpose, it takes me to another level. It takes me away from the little shit that's in my head and the little narrative that I have about these things that could be adding up. And it brings me to, it removes and erases all that and brings me to a place of like divine purpose, or, you know, your life's purpose. And that's what I love about you, is you always remind me of that, man. Listen, we're coming to the end of our time together. Super powerful for me, even if nobody got a thing out of it, which I know they did. It's so good to have you around in our circles. We appreciate you. I'm even more excited that someday in 2027, you're going to finish your EXP application. You're going to be part of our family. And then we can get on stage together and just rock this thing and change a lot of lives, man. I'm excited about that. But thank you for being here. Thank you. If you have any last parting words or anything, it'd be great to share them now. And then I'm going to turn it back over to Tom to wrap us up for the day. Anything you'd like to part with, or anything?
Me? I thought, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you.
If anybody has any questions, I could take
anybody
those,
have a question they'd like to? We're getting a lot of thank yous, a lot of love, a lot of wow. We're getting a lot of that, Kip. Super powerful.
Well,
it's blowing up.
I'll just leave you with this. We define our circumstances. Viktor Frankl survived 4 of the nastiest concentration camps ever devised. Okay. And he's the one who came out with it, that really, Nietzsche, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, Kant, Jesus, everybody talks about it, about the fact that all events are neutral, and we define our lives through how we define our circumstances. You define your life by what you focus on, the meaning that you give it, and what you do about it. And so I don't care what your circumstances are, get out of your freaking head, redefine what they are, and get to work.
Can I get an amen for that? Oh, powerful, Kip. I love you, brother. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for being here. And actually, this is your family now. This is our team call that Don and Tom have put together, and myself and Matthew and Andrea and Russ and some other leaders run every single week. And awesome. You've made a difference. You've made a difference in our lives. You'll be part of this life in the near future. And I can't wait to be on stage with you. We've talked about it. We're going to do it. We're going to, we want to go around the country and share this vision and this word and this path. And I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. And I appreciate you, brother. Love you, man.
Hey, I love you too, Randy. And thank you, all of you folks, for the opportunity. Thank you very, very much.
Kip,
thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Tom, close us out.
Very inspirational.
Thanks. So, my one takeaway is most of our obstacles are internal. And that is, it's our mindset, because external obstacles, they're not an obstacle. It's our internal, it's our mental. So thank you so much. Well, hey, everyone, thanks for jumping in. So we've got don't forget our dialing for dollars. That's at 9:45 Pacific. Jump in, look at the link. And then this Friday, we've got Freedom Friday with Derek Schnick. And Derek is a coach. He's a leader, and he has an amazing story and some great value to bring this Friday, Freedom Friday. So thank you so much, Kip. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
Hey, thanks everybody. Bye. Thanks, brother, man. Appreciate you.
You bet, Randy. Bye.
Later, my friend. Thanks. Bye.